Good evening and welcome to the Offer Accepted Show, a show for home buyers in a seller's market. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at current market conditions and how the new inventory is helping more buyers get their offer accepted. Now, the rates are starting to creep up, and Kris is going to let us know why this is happening and if it's something we should be concerned about. We all know that it's a seller's market, and Missy's going to break down why there is a shortage and also help define what does a healthy market look like, a buyer's market, and a seller's market. Later in the episode, Al is going to walk us through title and deeds and the insurance that we need. So let's get started. For this segment, we're here with Missy Buttrum, once again from Homewire Realty, to talk about inventory levels, pricing, and things that we're seeing in the market. So Missy, what are the current levels for single families compared to a year ago?
Well, currently, according to WRA, which is our Wisconsin Realtor Association, our inventory levels are holding steady. From a year ago, believe it or not, we're about at the same, right around 20,000 single family homes. The thing that's changing over the past year is more and more millennials are looking at buying a home. We have the 30, 40 somethings looking to step up. So there's more and more demand. So you kind of feel like there's less inventory.
What are you seeing for demand?
For demand, I'm seeing about the same. I'm getting a lot of new buyers in there. I usually primarily work with more listings, bringing on some more buyers, helping them out. But when I'm watching the listings come out, I'm noticing more and more listings and more inventory. Here in southeastern Wisconsin, we have the MLS, which gives us a hot sheet. And I go on there like every day, twice a day. And it used to be there'd only be like 50, 60 new listings. Now I'm seeing 120 in the last 24 hours. That's awesome. But I'm also noticing with other property types are coming up too. Like investors are getting rid of their properties. They bought in the early 2010s, back when foreclosures were big. And now they're trying to sell high. But still more investors are coming into the market. Again, those millennials, they want to get some investments going, or they want to buy a duplex and live in half of it and rent out the other half, smart things. So I'm noticing more and more multifamilies hitting the market as well.
So Missy, is the market cooling? And I know from last year we had kind of a weird cycle where things got really busy in July and August just because of everything.
Right,
so,
it got pushed off.
Yeah, so comparing year over year is challenging for last year, but let's say for 2019, is it cooling or is it too early to say, or what do you think?
I don't think it's necessarily cooling. I think we're going through our normal cycle as we would in a non-pandemic year. We're seeing people going on vacation in mid-July, mid-summer. So the market kind of cools a little bit then naturally. August, people are looking to get a home for the school district they want to get their kids in. So it gets busy again. Thanksgiving comes around, and then of course naturally we slow down here in the winter a little bit. So I think we're going through our natural cycle. But there's certainly a lot of activity still going on, a lot of listings coming out. Buyers are out and about, putting offers in, competing offers. But still, I want to reiterate, it is a great time to buy. Those, as Kris probably discussed in her part, those interest rates are still at an all-time low.
Yeah.
Even a house that's $300,000, the interest rate dropping from 4 to 2%, you're still going to get a great payment.
Yeah, so it is a great time to buy. And like I always repeat in all the episodes, your dream house, your forever home, that special house that you want to buy is going to come on the market when it comes on the market. So be ready, have your buyer's agent ready, and have your finances in order. So are any other types of property popular, and what's happening with multifamily or commercial properties? Because I know commercial took a hit because there's nobody in business, and now it's changing back. So what's happening in multifamily and commercial?
So commercial, good point. What happened is a lot of people got comfortable working from home. Companies are seeing that they can be very efficient working from home. And we're seeing kind of stagnant commercial rates. Like properties aren't really, they're moving, some of them, but nothing booming like the residential business. With multifamilies, a lot of investors are trying to cash in on the growing market. So they might have picked it up a few years ago at a lower rate. Now they want to sell at the high price. So I'm seeing more and more of that inventory coming out on the market.
Multifamilies, I think we should do an episode just on multifamily and investment property because even though the prices are high, with all of the prices going up, the rent's going to go up eventually. So
Right.
it's still a good time to buy because your rents are going to catch up in the next 6 to 12 months on that cycle.
Sure.
So what is the current ratio of sales price to listing price? I know that's important for real estate agents when they're looking at the health or the well-being of the market.
Right. So right now it's at 104%, which means that house that's listed for 100,000 is going for 104,000 on average.
What's normal?
Usually, like a year ago, it was close to 100%.
Okay.
A couple years before that, we were more at like 90, 95%.
Okay.
So it depends on if it's a seller's market or a buyer's market. Right now, because we are in what's called a seller's market, you're going to see that over 100%.
Identifying those numbers is really good because I don't know if people know what the percentages, what the numbers look like for a buyer's market or a seller's market. What you hear on the news is that houses are selling for twice as much, or so they're thinking 200%.
Oh, that's
but you're
crazy.
you're just saying it's 104 to 95 is kind of the range, or 105 to 95. So it's a 5-point shift.
Perfect. Yes.
Yes. So those are really good numbers to know in identifying what the market is doing. Which neighborhoods can you still get something with better values and which have less inventory or more inventory? Do you know offhand?
Still most popular are the suburbs of New Berlin, Brookfield, Elm Grove, Sussex, Menominee Falls, Oak Creek, Franklin. Of course, they're still, doing great and increasing in value. We always need more inventory in those areas. But
real quick on those, would the sales price be higher than 104 there because it's a popular area? Would you say that you're going to pay more?
I would say you're probably
areas?
closer to 110% on those areas.
Mm-hmm.
On average, they're going for 10% over asking.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. Where you could still get more inventory, maybe more at the 100% list price and not have to go way over asking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing areas like Mount Pleasant, Kenosha, West Bend, Port Washington. Basically, the further you get away from the center of the city, you're getting a little more inventory, a little more choices, and not quite as many buyers.
Right. That's good to hear that Mount Pleasant, Kenosha, because I know that's like a big industrial area that's growing, and to have affordable housing, I think, is going to be important to the economy of our state. So that's good news to hear. Do you have a success story of a recent buyer that you can share with our audience?
Yes, I love sharing those success stories. It makes it why I'm in my job. So I had a person looking in the Oak Creek area. She wanted to list her condo, but wanted to find something. So as many sellers struggle, I could sell my place, but where am I going to live? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So she was in the Oak Creek area, which is, as I just discussed, a very high demand area. And because of my partnership with Cell 911, and I own that company, it's my husband and I's acquisition company, we were able to find a motivated seller in Oak Creek. And we were in the middle of that project when I had a friend of a friend refer this person to me, and I was able to make a little love connection between the two of them.
Nice.
So I was very happy to get her in there. She came in, we were in the middle of renovating it, and needed some repairs, and she was able to add a couple of her light fixtures and a little bit of her touch. And she's very happy there. Big, huge yard for her kids to run around, no longer limited in the condo. So that was one of my success stories, making a match.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much once again, Missy, for joining us. In our next segment, Kris is going to tell us a little bit about what's happening with the rates and what's affecting them. In this segment, we are going to be speaking with Kris Weninger from Fairway Independent Mortgage. Talk about the rates, what's happening in the market, and what's going on. First, Kris, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me back. It was a great 4th of July weekend, and it brings some positive news today. Pretty excited to share it.
I am looking forward to hearing it. What's the number one thing affecting the rates and the market right now?
Let's talk a little bit about the jobs report. When COVID hit, we lost about 20 million jobs. Right now, we're at about a 13 million where we recouped, So we're about 7 million shy. The interesting part is there's about a 9.3 deficit. So we're going through a major worker shortage at this moment in time. Hopefully, as the stimulus money runs out, and in addition to the unemployment compensation, when that starts to run out, we're going to see more people get back to the workforce. So it'll be interesting to watch how the unemployment numbers affect the interest rates going forward.
And exactly how do the unemployment rates affect the interest rate?
When you take a look at, the Fed keeps a pretty good track as far as how the unemployment numbers are. Right now, the Fed is keeping the interest rates low to keep people out there buying more. That's going to have a trickle-down effect. And what I mean by that, if the interest rates are low, people are going to buy more goods and services. Therefore, employers are going to turn around and hire more people, give people more raises, purchase more inventory, and thus the trickle-down effect, which we like to see.
Give us an overview of how the housing prices look right now.
Appreciation is doing quite well. The Case-Shiller Price Index came out, which is considered the gold standard when they take a look at depreciation. Year over year, it increased 14.6%. That's a very nice appreciation. And when we talk about it, if you purchased a house last year versus this year, the appreciation, again, 14.6%. And that's an amazing rate.
Was last year down and this year going up? So was there a dip last year? And are we evening out from maybe 2019?
When you take a look at 2019 to current, you're taking a look at a steady, nice increase. At 2020, we saw the market was very strong and it just kept building steam up until 2021. So in essence, that appreciation rate is growing very nicely.
In my mind, I would think that 2020 would be a dip because everything that happened, but actually the prices went up in 2020.
Exactly. You take a look at, as far as for buyers having to make multiple offers on many different type of homes to get their offer accepted. So prices gained steam throughout last year, so we did not see any dip at all.
What is the Fed doing to the rates?
The Federal Reserve, part of their policy is setting the monetary policy. Part of their job is they take a look at purchasing bonds. And when they purchase bonds, that affects the interest rates. The more they purchase, the less it keeps the interest rates down. It'll be interesting to see how the Fed affects the interest rates going forward. If the unemployment numbers keep increasing, we're going to take a look at, they're going to start lessening of the buying of the bonds, therefore the rates are going to start to tick up, which sooner or later we need to see that happen, otherwise we're going to have the fear of inflation.
The rate just popped over 3. Is that something to worry about? Is it going to skyrocket, or how will that rate climb?
It's a great question. There's a lot of fear as far as the market is going to increase quite a bit. The Fed doesn't want to see that happen, because if it increases, the economy is everybody's going to tighten up. So therefore they're going to stop spending, and therefore we're not going to have that trickle down effect. They want to do it gradually, slowly. Do I think you have to hurry out and run out and buy a house tomorrow? If you want to, that is fine. But as far as for interest rates, I don't see a massive increase coming anytime soon. They are going to start to tick up slowly over the next couple months.
The best time to buy is now, because your house that you want, that dream house or forever home, is going to be up for sale when it's up for sale, not when the mortgage rates are perfect and the market is perfect. It just happens when it happens. There's always a ton of news that came out. Is there something that stands out as big news that happened as far as the rates go or mortgage?
I was happy to see with the Federal Housing Administration, FHA, they decreased the requirement on your student loans. Many borrowers today have student loans that are in repayment or in deferment. Right now, they reorganize what their guidelines were, helping more customers get into a house. So this is really great news going forward.
Student loans were a big detriment to people's credit score and ability to get mortgages. So this is huge news as far as millennials being able to get a mortgage and get a better rate.
Many customers today carry some type of student loan. Right now with COVID, there has been a stop on those payments, but sooner or later they're going to start to come out. They think at the end of September. We'll wait and see if that is adjusted any further. So therefore, if you have to make a payment, then they're going to start making payments again at the end of September. FHA going forward, they lessen their requirements as far as how they calculate the student loan payment and the debt to income ratio.
Thank you so much for joining us today. This is great information, and I can't wait for next week to learn more about the rates and what's affecting the market. We're here with Al Spiegel from the McLario Firm to talk about titles and deeds. Do you need them, and what are they? So, Al, titles and deeds, or title insurance and deeds, they sound very real estate, and they sound like something that nobody really knows what they are. So can you tell us a little bit about what's title insurance, and do I need it?
Absolutely. So title insurance is the insurance we purchase to make sure that there aren't any liens or encumbrances on a property that we're buying. So when we buy a property, we want to buy it free and clear from the seller. We want to make sure that there isn't some judgment against them from 20 years ago, or a mortgage they never paid off, or something where they built a sidewalk 5 years ago, or anything like that. We want it to be clear. And the title insurance is the company that investigates to make sure it's clear. And not only that, but then guarantees you that it's clear, so that if something comes up in the future, they're going to pay it and not you.
So the title insurance, it's not just like a travel insurance where it just covers a couple of weeks while you're closing. This goes long after the property's closed.
That's correct. Yeah, it's something that sticks with the property as long as you own it. It ensures you that you have purchased free and clear title to the property.
Okay, so that's good insurance to have. Is it expensive?
It can be. It's based on a percentage. There's a sort of a table that they use. It's based on a percentage of the purchase price, because it's sort of the insurance companies decide that this is an acceptable amount of cost for the risk that we're assuming.
Do I need title insurance? Is it required in order to get a purchase, an offer accepted, or a mortgage?
Sure. On the last question, yes. If you're going to get a mortgage, you got to have title insurance, because no one's going to give you a loan unless they know that you are the sole owner of that property. Because otherwise they don't know who's in front of them in line as far as collecting if something goes wrong. So if you're buying it on your own, you don't have to have title insurance. In most cases, I would strongly advise you to have title insurance.
Just so something doesn't creep up and get you. So what does title insurance have to do with the deed? And before we get there, what is a deed?
Sure. So a deed is really the document that transfers the ownership of property from one person or entity to another. So, and the reason that title insurance ties into deeds is because title insurance is the process or the insurance that makes sure that the person who's giving us the deed is the full owner themselves, and we're going to be the full owner. So it makes sure that what's being transferred is actually what's being transferred. So that's how title insurance ties into deeds, and then the deed is the actual document. A lot of times people get it confused because when you buy a car now in Wisconsin, you don't get your title to the car until you pay off the loan. So I'll talk to clients and say, oh, I need a copy of your deed. And they'll say, oh no, we have a mortgage. We don't have a deed. You do have a deed. Whenever you buy a property, there's a deed that's signed and given to you at the time of the purchase.
Okay, at closing.
At closing, exactly.
Okay.
And that deed is going to be in your file, even if there's a mortgage on the property.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. When you buy a car, you just make payments and they hold the title.
Right.
So the title and deed are a little bit different. So are there different types of deeds?
There certainly are. The Cadillac type of deed that we want to deal with is a warranty deed, because a warranty deed is a deed where the person who's conveying the property is warrantying or assuring you that they have free and clear title to the property in the first place. That's the one we want if we can get it.
So that's a warranty deed.
It's called a warranty deed, yep.
And is it more expensive to get a warranty deed?
It is not. And if you if you get title insurance, that should result in you getting a warranty deed.
Okay.
Because those two work together. There's no reason not to. The other types of deeds, most often mispronounced term in the law, as far as I know, is called a quit-claim deed, often referred to as a quick claim deed.
That's what I thought it was.
Which is not correct.
Okay.
So it's a quit claim deed, and what that deed does is it says, for any given piece of property, I give you whatever interest I own in that property. I make no guarantees whether I own it at all or if there's liens on it or anything else, but whatever I own, I give it to you.
That sounds a little shady. When did quit claim deeds come about? That sounds like the Wild Wild West or
It's
something.
very much the Wild Wild West,
Yeah.
and it was, it's when people just said, you know what, here you can have it, whatever I own, no big deal. And you can understand when we're talking about a transfer in a family or something, grandpa's giving you the cabin and he doesn't want to horse around. Not that I would advise it that way, but I can understand it that way. Let's do a quit claim deed. But that's sort of the way to transfer without any kind of assurance on either side.
Great information as always. So thank you for joining us, and tune in next week when we talk about how to prepare your winning offer to get your offer accepted. Join us Tuesday at 7 p.m. for the Offer Accepted Show, a show for home buyers in a seller's market.